Texas A&M fans probably hate the 8-4 jokes. I get it. It's frustrating. Here's the deal, though. Until change is inevitable, they're going to be rolling in like waves. So you might as well embrace the hate. The good news is I think that era of Aggie football is over underneath Mike Elko. He's got the right culture. He's got the right demeanor. And not so quietly, the Aggies have been killing it in the transfer portal. 5-star wide receivers like Micah Hudson, Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver are joining the party. Defensively, you landed Samuel Mpemba. You brought in Julian Humphrey. But Elko's also looking at this from a 3-year lens, which is why recently when they brought in Jonah Wilson from Houston, this feels like a long-term play. So let's go ahead and grade the move. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. It's Cole Thompson here. And today we talk about the Houston Cougar now going to College Station. Real quickly, make sure that you like the video, hit the ring notification, and subscribe to the channel because we talk college football every single day. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at RHOBACK. It's a new year. It's a new you. Why not be dressed the nine with RHOBACK and simply go to RHOBACK.com, use the promo code SECU for 20% off your first purchase. Pullovers, fleece, hoodies, jackets, shorts, pair of pants, whatever you want. Promo code SECU for 20% off at RHOBACK.com. Guys, when we talk about Jonah Wilson, very much an unknown commodity. Played in 7 games last season for Houston, 9 catches, 58 yards, stands 6'2", played on a 4-8 roster in the Big 12. Not really somebody that connected with this team underneath Willie Fritz. Had committed to Dana Holgorsen, now goes ahead and enters the transfer portal. Doesn't stick around with Connor Wigman, who is leaving College Station and actually going to H-Town. He's now going from H-Town to College Station. I think this is a really good, smart, long-term ploy. Because basically what you're doing is you're adding in another wide receiver that you don't have to worry about this season. You lost Noah Thomas. You lost Noah Thomas because of whether it was him not having a number 1 role, he wanted to be known as the X-Factor receiver, all the other wide receivers you brought in. You're adding in quality depth. When you lose a player, you have to gain a player. So that's what you got in Jonah Wilson. The guys that you have are phenomenal, and I'll be call a spade a spade. I've made it clear that I think Casey Concepcion is a top 10 wide receiver in college football. He is now in College Station. That is Marcel Reed's go-to guy. That is somebody that you can believe is going to be hitting 1,000, potentially double-digit touchdowns, and an All-American season for a wide receiver for the first time in, what has it been, like 2014, since we've seen that down in College Station. Mario Craver, really good vertical threat. You also throw in Micah Hudson, untapped potential coming out of high school. Never found his footing when he was in college, out in Lubbock with Joey McGuire and Texas Tech. But this is a guy that you're building for the long term. Let's just say that he plays 15 snaps per game or 5 snaps per game. And let's say that he also plays like 10 on special teams. There's a role for him. He's getting acclimated to life in the SEC. He's getting acclimated to what type of mentality you need to be successful in a winning program. He's getting accustomed to what are the expectations for Colin Klein's system. What do I have to work on? And let's just say that, God forbid, one game, you don't have a Casey Concepcion. And a guy like Jonah Wilson, who's been in practice, stands 6'2", got a good catch radius, came on in from Decaney High School, averaging 17.6 yards per catch. That's a guy that you say, we're calling your number, go onto the field, make us proud. And he gets like 2 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. Well, that's how Noah Thomas's career got started. That's how any great wide receiver's career got started. And then eventually when you lose a Casey Concepcion or you lose a Mario Craver or you lose a guy like a Micah Hudson to the NFL draft, you got somebody that can be your new number 1. He was wanted by Texas A&M coming out of high school, but he chose to stay in the Big 12 and closer to home. Now he's leaving and spreading his wings and going out to College Station, playing at Kyle Field, where he should be at least a plug-and-play addition from a depth perspective. Texas A&M is really well put together at wide receiver right now. You like what you have in a versatile player like Concepcion. You like what you have with the untapped potential of a former 5-star Micah Hudson. You like what you have in Mario Craver, who was phenomenal in certain roles and limitations when he was at Mississippi State. And now this is Elko's team. These are Elko's players. Year 1 for me is kind of a wash for every single coach. I'm okay with whatever the record says. If you end up overachieving expectations, congratulations. If you end up meeting expectations, which for many people, you say, we went 8-4. We went the exact same as Jimbo Fisher. And Fisher, he only got to this level one more time, and it was a COVID year where we went 9-1. This is day 1 of Mike Elko. It's only going to be clear skies from here on out. And so from my perspective, adding in a guy like Jonah Wilson provides that for you. Let's go ahead and grade the move. elite, all league, winnable plus, winnable minus. We don't talk about Jag. It's very hard to get in the elite all league category. You have to be a special talent. Unfortunately, I just don't see that right now with Jonah Wilson. I see winnable minus because it's a depth piece. This is a guy that if you say, we're going to have you work with the second team, but you can work your way on up to the first team because of injuries, because of insufficient play from, say, Micah Hudson, from Mario Craver, and he ends up balling on out, that's an advantage. That's another victory for you. And that's not to say that Micah Hudson or Mario Craver or Casey Concepcion is taking a back step, but what it is it's saying we have such talented receivers, our twos are as good as our ones. That might be a Jonah Wilson. So winnable minus is not a negative. The thing that I will always love about this, you're adding in as much talent as possible around a guy in Marcel Reed. Because Marcel Reed, love him or hate him, he's your starting quarterback in 2025. Colin Klein's made it clear we're going to run it with him. We brought in a veteran in Jacob Zeno just to be the backup in case of anything. With Jalen Henderson leaving, with Connor Wigman leaving, we now know that 10 is our dude. So we got to build around him. What do? You bring in wide receivers. You go land Micah Riley, the tight end out of Auburn. You also go ahead and bring in the other tight end of Nate Brockhiker, I think is how you say it, from Nebraska. Better your defense, better your offensive line. You're building on your talent. You know what the culture is. Just by guaranteeing that you have no issues for Marcel Reed, the numbers should be better in 2025. Jonah Wilson, 2 or 3 years from now, we could be talking about an all SEC wide receiver out in College Station, finishing with 1,000 yards, finishing with 7 or 8 touchdowns. But this year, 2025, when you know what you have in the current players, it's always great to have depth. The teams that last the longest in the college football playoff, the ones that we see punch their ticket to the dance, the ones we see win games outright, no questions asked, are the ones with the proper depth. A guy like Jonah Wilson in year one can be that depth piece that only elevates the internal standard in College Station. Every rep is guaranteed to be run pristine by wide receivers because a guy like Jonah Wilson's waiting in the wings to knock one of these 3, one of these 5, whoever's ahead of him off the pecking order and closer to becoming wide receiver 1. So let me know in the comment section down below. What are your overall thoughts on Jonah Wilson leaving H-Town, headed down to College Station? Like, review, hit subscribe. Follow us on the social channels, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SEC Unfiltered. Follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson. Download the podcast version of the show and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, folks, I am Cole Thompson. Aggies, you got yourself some wide receiver depth. And honestly, you may end up having a breakout player in the future. Peace.